Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. It is Binky here today and we are going to be talking about Clue Perfumery again. We still have 2 more scents. So I have a lot of my, here we go, a lot of these in here. And I want to point out I did pick up some stuff from Kerosene. I don't know when we're going to get to that, but do not put followed in with your samples because all I could smell in here is maple syrup and curry. If you don't know about Kerosene fragrances and followed, go look it up. check it out because it is a lot. And actually I removed it and hid it somewhere in here, and because it was with some of these, specifically these, it's all over the plastic, and so everything just smells like it now. I don't know how I feel about that. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. That's too much. It's just, anyway. So, this is Morel Map. This is what it looks like. I just pulled this off like an animal. And you can see the back side here. I don't know if you can really see anything. I put my fingers on it. Whatever. It's basically what's in it, what it's about, and you know, the notes and what they wanted to create with this perfume. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So this is what the bottle looks like, and you can see this little mushroom guy. I think that's what a Morel is. I'm almost positive that's what it is. You got to be careful with that. I don't hunt them because I'd probably kill people and pick a poisonous one. I'm not that person. I'm not that outdoor person that's going to help you. So this is Morel Map. The hunt begins in spring when Wisconsin soil grows warm and damp. Huh. Okay. Well, we are in spring, so this is perfect timing, but we are not in Wisconsin, though their cheese is delicious. So, yes. So, it's $140 USD. So, the top notes are birch leaf, balsam fir needle, red currant, Wisconsin wood violet. Very specific. There you go. Violet leaf, galbanum, morel mushrooms. There they are. And that's middle, by the way. Middle is violet leaf, galbanum, morel mushrooms. And the base is oak moss, dead elm tree, and forest floor. This is wild. Okay. So the impression is damp, green, and loamy. I like the loamy just because you don't hear that word as much as I would like. We need more. So there we go. Hints of treasure on the forest floor. There you go. See, that looks questionable, but that's the mushroom. Hopefully there's not a lot of dogs going through there because that looks questionable to me. But what do I know? I do not hunt the stuff. And then they have like music. You can go to their site. Each scent has like music to it. Very interesting. This is very artistic. And that's what I like about their site is it's very strange in a good way. Look at that. You can get hypnotized and go, dead elm tree. So yeah, and then they have other scents, which we're not necessarily going to talk about. 2 of them are already released and on my website or YouTube channel here, if you're interested. So let us see. I gotta find the opening. There it is. Can't smell anything, unassuming. We know this is going to be interesting and earthy. I do too. Ooh. Where am I going to put this? This is so weird. I know. I don't. Where do I don't want it to. I don't want to go nose blind. Not that I usually do, but. Oh, we used a whole portion of it. That makes me sad. Okay. Definitely getting the violet. So the violet is really coming out quite strong. Oh, wow. If you ever wanted to smell what damp earth smells like, maybe you live in a desert. Maybe you live in Antarctica. This is how you live that dream right here. Wow. Okay. I'm definitely getting the floor, like the Wow, violet leaf. Okay, I'm getting mostly violet leaf for sure. But then there's this loveliness of damp earth, and it actually takes me back to where I was raised. So I was raised in the Pacific Northwest. I was born in California, raised in the Pacific Northwest for the most part. Not the most part, but for the formative years, whatever that is, 8 and up, I'd say. So, this smells, oh my gosh, I'm getting the fir trees. This smells like the Pacific Northwest. This smells like my grandparents' house. Oh my gosh, this is weird. Oh wow, it really does. It almost smells like a Christmas tree now. I'm not getting the mushrooms, but this is really beautiful and really blended well. This is so odd. Oh wow, now it smells like Christmas tree. It really does, with damp earth. Oh wow. It really is taking me back because my grandparents owned like a farm and there was logging. It was a logging area. So they owned a lot of acres, and we would walk on the acres and then chop down trees. And we'd have to cord everything, and then we'd wood burning stove as a kid where I lived. It was cold as hell. I'll just say it. It was really cold. And this reminds me of that because we'd spend a whole couple days. We'd go up there for a weekend with my cousins, and they'd chop wood, and then we'd have to throw it down a mountain, put it onto the truck, and then take it to the farm, and then they would cut it up. Now, I was a city kid because I was originally raised in San Francisco, so this was shocking to me. It's still shocking that I did it because I'm a city person through and through. But it does remind me of this, and it takes me back to that time, except that the violet wasn't there, but that fresh, earthy smell. I did not enjoy this time because it was a lot of manual labor, and there's bugs. You lift up that log and there'd be bugs, and I'm terrified. So it just, that's why I was told I was a useless farmer. And it's true. You know, my whole family is like, you're useless. And it's like, I am. But I'm great at other things that do not have to do with farming. But boy, do I respect it because it was very difficult. And I was the youngest and only female. And it was just, except for my mom and my grandma, but for the children, there's 4 of us children. It was terrible. Yes. But anyway, no need to bring up childhood trauma. So there we go. Wow. Yeah, it totally reminds me of that. That is so strange. Let me smell here. This is a strange shirt. So we'll do the cutaway. Okay, here it is so green. I get just greenery. And it's not the balsam fir. It's like soil. It is like moss. It is so green. This is so strange in a beautiful way. Like, I smell earthy. I smell like the earth. I feel like this is what a hobbit's house smells like. Okay, that's what I feel like. I feel like Bilbo Baggins right now. I haven't eaten yet. I need my second breakfast, but here we are. On my skin tone, I'm definitely getting the galbanum and the oak moss. Not the oak moss, I'm sorry, the violet, the galbanum, and the earth scent, and a little bit of the fir balsam. Let's try this one more time. This on my shirt smells like, you know when in fall you've raked up all the leaves and you're like, yeah, let's get these out of here, get them out of the yard, and you put them somewhere in your yard and they smell like that, like mulch. It smells like mulch. It smells like decomposing leaves. This is one of the most wild scents I've smelled in a while. It is so dead on. It's seriously taking me back to my childhood before winter comes and you want to get the logging done and you're walking through the forest because it was we had to go up a mountain, put the pickup truck at the bottom and just climbing up that mountain. And you're surrounded by the dew in the morning because farmers get up early. I do not, but farmers, they do. And you're surrounded by that smell of the fir trees and the damp soil from the dew and it's just everywhere. And the moss, this takes me back to my childhood. You know, it's kind of the whole family's together. It's yeah, this one's kind of touching me in a nostalgic way, but part of it is I have that nostalgia. The only thing that's throwing it off is that violet, but that's okay because I don't care. I'm almost positive it's violet. Once I read the notes, I just ramble them. I'm not really paying attention. So watch it not even be there. Nope, Wisconsin wood violet and violet leaf. Yep. Oh, so just absolutely beautiful. I think the violet just adds to it to make it so it's not so earthy where you're just walking around smelling like mud and leaves. This adds, it boosts it. It's such a smart addition. What I like is there's not a lot of florals being added into it where it becomes too confusing. Whoever is mixing these is pretty genius. I've tried 3 so far. I love this brand. Whoever is doing it is genius. Truly genius, because it's just perfect. I put on 4 sprays and it is definitely around me. Ooh, this is gorgeous. This is gorgeous. Oh my gosh. This is gorgeous. I love this. I love this so much. I love this so much. Yeah, I do. So what I'm going to do is I am going to try this. I'm already trying this. I am going to come back in an hour. We're going to revisit this. I love every time I move what is happening around me. This would be the most beautiful spring and fall scent, even summer. This is gorgeous. This is mind-blowingly gorgeous. I thought this would be the one I would dislike. This is the one I actually love the most. That's all I'm going to say. So we're going to come back in an hour and discuss. Okay, so it has been an hour and I can still smell this beautiful scent. Every time I move around, I can smell it. And the thing is, it's like around here. I would say it's a sphere of around here, so people will smell it. But what I like about it is it packs a punch, but it doesn't do it in a way that I think would really disturb anyone. You know, it's not like that. With the candlestick, I think of the 3 out of 4 that I've tried so far, with the candlestick basically is probably the strongest. And it has that cinnamon notes with the cherry wine and things. I think that one may be a little bit like, to people. But with this one, it's so light, but yet I can smell it. Oh, it's so glorious. It's so glorious. So let's check it out and see what it smells like, the notes. Oh, it just smells so clean. It's interesting because it's morphed into just like a clean cologne scent, if that makes sense. I'm trying to pull out the individual notes, but it just reminds me of this clean scent that I've just smelled on various dudes that I've passed. I'm not saying it leans more masculine. Maybe some will say it does, the earthiness, but I don't think so. You get that fir tree. The fir and the fir tree and just the beautiful like damp soil. Oh, it's so nice. It's just so nice. Okay, let's try it here. Okay, so here I'm definitely getting the violet now. It wasn't here originally. I'm getting the violet with the mulched leaves. Violet and mulched leaves. Fir balsam. Fir balsam and like dampness. This is beautiful. Oh, I don't know how long it's going to last. It's been an hour. I do not think it is going to last the full time. I do care, but I'm getting it now. I just need to sit with it a bit. There it is. When you move around, you get it. Oh, it's glorious. This is so beautiful. Anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to check back in about 5 hours, maybe 4 if it doesn't last as long. But, Okay, so it has been about 4.5 hours. Yes, so little 30 minutes shy of 5. And it's still going. It is definitely still going. What I will say is the bubble was here before, I would say the bubble's very much in here now. So it's very much a you scent, and anyone you give a hug to, or anyone that comes into your personal body space, it's probably about there. So if you want it to be a little bit stronger in its performance, I would suggest spraying on more. It probably won't be that offensive because even at 4 sprays, it never was overwhelming. There's really no notes in there that take it to a place that's going to just be like, wow. And that's the nice thing about that. There's certain scents, if you're using like ambers or oud, or you're using, very strong florals like rose or something like that, where it's just going to be really strong, musks, certain scents and the way that they're processed. With this, it's never going to be that kind of an issue. Because none of the notes really are powerhouses on their own, in my opinion. I mean, fir tree, you could argue fir tree could be, but it's used with such a gentle hand in this that it never becomes overwhelming. So let's try it one more time on the wrist and on the clothing. So here it's interesting because it kind of melds in a way where you can't necessarily pull out the individual notes like when you first spray or even within the first hour. I would say it smells violet with a little bit of fir. And I mean fir balsam. So there you go, a fir tree. So you get a little bit of the violet, really hard to smell on the skin at this point and pull out notes. So I'd say it's like a fir tree with violet and a little bit of earthiness. Of course, in clothing, it's going to stay in the material a little bit better than it would on your skin. So smelling it on the shirt, it tends to have a little bit more violet and earth and the mulch of leaves, but it is a little bit hard to pull apart the different scents. It becomes more difficult the longer it's on your body or on clothing, and it definitely diminishes in its strength. So this is going to be one that you're going to have to reapply probably every 3 hours. I mean, you could try adding more sprays, like I said, but this is really going to need the help of more being added over time. Yeah, so some people like that, some people don't. I would like it to have a little bit more longevity, but again, I feel like this is kind of the way that fragrances are kind of going, and I think it's just kind of the time period where everybody wants a little bit more gentler scents around themselves, and that doesn't work for everybody. Like me, I like a little bit more power, but that being said, it's absolutely gorgeous. But yeah, at this point, I would say around the 4-hour mark, you're gonna need to add a little bit more to bring it back to its former glory. It's definitely there. It has no projection. None, even on the shirt. It's just kind of in there and will probably be gone by, another 5 hours. From the wrist, most definitely. From clothing, it'll probably be non-existent there soon. So it's not one you're going to smell too often. Like a couple days later, you're like, oh, you're not going to really smell it so much. So that's something to weigh if you want something a little bit more power and a little bit more longevity. As far as being feminine, masculine, that one's always tough. I was looking at some reviews and I feel that it was more males reviewing this, which could just be an outlier. You can't really, that proves nothing. I think it's hard to sometimes judge things like that just because to me, this is really neutral. It's right in the middle. For me, I think it could go either way. This is something I would wear. It's very earthy, and I don't think male female is going to want earthy more than the other one, and the violet just kicks it up a notch. And I think that's what I really like about this is it's easy to make this a very earthy scent, fir and or fir tree and dead leaves and trees and oak moss and all these things that make it very earthy. What makes this different, that alone would have been interesting, but I love the hint of violet on it. There's always that undertone of violet on everything, and I just love that. It's kind of unexpected. It's not in a direction that I would think to take it, and I just adore it for it. I really adore it. I think it's just absolutely phenomenal. I do. There's this beautiful complexity to it, but yet this beautiful simplicity to it, which doesn't really make sense, but it's there. I just feel like it's the perfect contradiction. It's so earthy, but that lightness of the violet it just brings it up from being just an earthy forest scent. And then it's just, you could look at it like this is, I don't know. I can see how people go, oh, it's masculine in the way it presents, but I don't understand why forest scents and, muddiness and things would be that. But you add the violet, in which some may say is more feminine, and it just makes it very gender neutral. And I just love that. It's one big contradiction. It really took me back to a certain time, as I described earlier. It took me back to that one point in life and that one memory in life. And I'm not gonna lie, it's weird saying this about a scent, but I don't think people realize how strong the sense of scent is to our memories. It just brought me back, and it made me a little teary-eyed a little bit. It really did, because it took me back to that one moment where everybody's together, and it's a moment that you can't capture again because time continues to move on and there's losses in life. And for that one brief moment, everyone was back together. And that's what this brought me to. It brought me to that moment, and I'm like, this is special. Very, very special. So if I were going to rate this piece, what would I give it? So I would have given this a 9.5 had the longevity been a little bit better. I want that solid 4 or 5 hour mark. I know it's a lot to ask for 6 to 8 now these days, but I would have loved to have had that 4 or 5 hour, and it didn't fully make it to that 4. Very close, but it started to really wean out. So that's the only reason I'm going to knock a half point off, is because it just wanted a little bit more juice. But that being said, there are not many scents that have come to a 10, but there are 2 that I'm thinking of that are really close. And maybe by the end of the year, after smelling all these, who knows where they'll fit. But right now, if the longevity was better, this would have gotten a solid 9.5, but I'm gonna have to go with a 9, which is phenomenal. It is. I love this piece. I really, out of the 4 that I've read of the descriptions, I thought this one would be the one I would least like. I looked at it and went, I have no interest in this. None. And then it's beautiful. This took me to a place I did not expect. I think this is phenomenal. I really do. It's just, I love it. As always, please sample first with things. It's difficult to blind buy, in that, not everything that works on me will work on you. So this is a really great set. You can buy 4, and then I think you get $30 or $35 off the price of the set. You can take off of a full fragrance when you buy it. So yeah, I think that's a pretty darn good deal. And I'm glad to see when companies do that. So yeah, this is absolutely wonderful. And I'm curious because I have one more left, and that's the point. And so that's the last one we'll be trying, because there are only 4 scents at this time. And then we will talk about the whole series. But yeah, this one, I can't even make jokes. Usually I make jokes about things. I'm like, no, this just brought me to a place that's today and this gloomy day. And so it was a very nice place to visit again. So yeah, I appreciate that. Clue Perfumery, I really do. So with that, have a fabulous day, my friends. Bye.